presentation on La Specola, which is in Florence, Italy, and the presentation is by me, Ayla Matthias. That will be shown throughout this presentation are the history, some of the facts and collection will be mentioned here, notable landmarks, a few of the notable landmarks like Pitti Palace or Ponte Vecchio. The scientist that I chose was Giovanni Toretti. He was known to be a naturalist, and he donated quite a bit to the actual museum itself. A few important items that I chose are 4 famous pieces that are housed within the museum. One is an extinct egg. Next is the restaurant that would be nearby. It's called Torotani or Holy, and then the references. History. It is the oldest science and art museum in Europe. It was also known as the Museum of Zoology and Natural History. It was first established on February 21st, 1775. The museum was originally called the Imperial and Royal Museum of Physics and Natural History by the Grand Duke Peter. In 1765 is when the project to create the museum really took off, and when the Grand Duke had first arrived. This led to the construction of the Palazzo della Scienza. During the 18th century, the museum was considered a highly suggested spot for tours to see the world and to see many of the new scientific discoveries. Even when Napoleon invaded Italy, he personally made a visit to the museum himself. In 1814 is when the museum became private again and wasn't open to the public until 1829, when it was used for science and public education. Continue with the history. The name La Specola refers to the observatory that the Grand Duke had installed. The museum is also part of Palazzo Bene Torgani. This was the first museum to ever be open to everyone, no matter the status, as long as they were dressed cleanly. The museum houses many different things. Some of the collections are the zoological collection, which has over 4,600 displays of different animal remains in different forms. The anatomical collection that has 1,400 different anatomical works, some that are made of wax, and more. The botanical wax collection houses 400 different botanical wax plants to show some that are extinct and some that are still around. There is also a mineralogy collection of various stones and minerals. And then there are many rarities to art and science, numbering over 1,000 of all kinds that are found scattered throughout the museum. With the history of the museum, in 1829 is when the selectionization and specialization of the various exhibits began. The wax collection has items made by the best artists of the 17th and 18th century. A few of these artists are Fresco, Luigi, and Clemente. There are extinct animal species housed within the zoology section of the museum. A few of these are the Tasmanian tiger and an egg of a moa, which is like a giant bird. This was the only way for students and scientists to study the animal kingdom 300 years ago. In total, the museum has over 3.5 million animal exhibits. On the first floor is the Galileo Tribune and a section dedicated to Galileo's discoveries. And there is a large statue of Galileo that is surrounded by medals and a fresco of his life, as well as many other scientists. To move on, The next section is the notable landmarks. Some of these are Pitti Palace, which is a Renaissance palace and a museum near Ponte Vecchio and near La Specola. Next is Fortuna del Belhiveda, a Firenze fortification made in the 16th century. Next is Boholia Gardens, a huge garden opened in 1766 and is directly behind Pitti Palace. Next is Ponte Vecchio, a medieval stone bridge over Arno River and is famous for its many shops, especially those of jewelry and leathers. Fortuna della Sola is a large fountain near Prato della Valla and Laga Amula. All of these can be found within walking distance of La Specola. Is the scientist associated, and the scientist I chose was Giovanni Torgani Toretti. He was a naturalist, and he founded the family of naturalists. He was also a scientist with a degree in medicine and philosophy that he received in 1734. He was admitted to the Botanical Society and the Columbaria Society. He was in charge of drawing up the original naturalistic exhibits within the gallery, and he also was the one who had the idea of the museum. He is also famous for writing many important papers, like one about Tuscany's history and scientific heritage. Is scientist-associated works. This particular scientist had many years of successful studies and many volumes of manuscripts that he took notes of. The museum now houses his 12 volumes of manuscripts and houses most of his specimens that he collected over his years of research and discovery. His manuscripts can cover topics from animals and fossils to lithology and mineralogy, as well as many other aspects and topics as well. He made the first scientific description of the Borificis area, and he was known for his exploration of boric acids. He was also known to study the use of steam coming from the earth for producing electrical energy. Within this next section of the presentation are the few important items that I chose that are housed within the museum. The first is the Skinned by Clemente. Her work is actually pictured to the right. Next, the extinct bird egg called the egg of Moa, which is also to the right in the bottom corner. It is a very large egg compared to those we would find today. The Hall of Skeletons, which is also to the right, is where you can find many, many different species all in the same place and all of their bone structures. Also, Guillermo Zumbo's anatomical modeled on a real human skull is also found to the right. Two of these can be found within the anatomical department, and the others are in the zoology department. Which will be the last before references, is the restaurant nearby. And the restaurant I chose is called Torantia Voi because it is found near both of these very famous spots. The meals tend to range from 20 to 30 euros per person. The Google reviews give this place a 4.7 stars, meaning that their food is relatively well made and well liked. This particular restaurant is open every day of the week. Hours are from 12 to 10 p.m. and 12 to 10:30 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. They do allow dogs because Italy is very pet friendly. Dining options are lunch, dinner, and desserts. They do not open for mornings, and their address is Via Roma 45 Red 50125 Firenze, Florence, Italy. All of my references. I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to spend time with everybody on the plane and on this trip.